in arithmetic reasoning is blood relation. So blood relation is all about your family relationships and how people are related to each other among your family. So for knowing this, for example, let me tell you here, she is the mother of your father. So if you get a question like that, she is the mother of your father. So you can very easily understand that she is the mother of your father. So you have a father and this person is your father's mother. So definitely she is your grandmother. So you can't expect such an easy question in the net question paper, but that was just an example for you. So in this case, what happens is it is quite confusing for a lot of people. So you definitely need a pen and paper to do a question on blood relation. So for example, let me give you an actual example. So if a person says that he is the brother of your wife's husband, that is an example, that is the type of question that you might get in a net question. So he is the brother of your wife's husband. So while doing this question, what happens is he is the brother of your wife's husband. So your wife's husband is you itself and he is your brother. So that is a direct brother relationship. So it might sound confusing. That is why I told in the first place that you will need a pen and paper to do this kind of problems. So first what happens is let us go with some guidelines as we do normally. We'll go with guidelines, what all you have to keep in mind while doing a question on blood relation, and then we'll dive right into the sample questions. The first guideline is to know about relationships. So at first we have to have a knowledge about who your father is, who your mother is, who your brother is, and who your sister is. It might sound as a joke, it might be a joke for a lot of people, but you have to know who your father is. It means that your relationship with your father is not through you alone. Your father is your mother's husband. Your father is your sister's father. Your father is your brother's father. Your father is actually your grandfather's son. Your father is your wife's father-in-law. So you have a lot of relationships with your father, even which is not through you. So through you have that your father is your father itself. But still there are a lot of indirect relationships that constitute between you and your father. So that is why I said you have to know who your father is. Similarly, you have to know all the relationships between you and your mother, you and your brother, you and your sister. Your brother is actually your father's son. Your brother is your son's uncle. So that is another indirect relationship that you have with your brother. So similarly, you have to have a knowledge about your father, your mother, your brother, and your sister. That is a basic thing. Another basic thing is to have a knowledge about your husband, your wife, your son, and your daughter. Similar to the father's case, your husband is not, there is not only one relationship between you and your husband. Your husband is your mother-in-law's son. Your husband is your sister's brother-in-law. That is an indirect relationship. Your husband is your sister's brother-in-law. So similarly, you have a lot of indirect relationships also among the direct relationship within your family. So you have to have a knowledge about your husband, your wife, your son, and your daughter. Similarly, another direct relationship is between your grandfather, your grandmother, your grandson, and your granddaughter. So these are some very basic, very direct relationships that you have within your family: father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, son, and daughter, grandmother, grandfather, granddaughter, and grandson. So these are the very direct relationships that you have within your family. So you'll have to have a very clear idea about who these people are. The second one, about some indirect relationships, you have your paternal uncle, your maternal uncle, your paternal aunt, and your maternal aunt. So paternal means from your father's side and maternal means from your mother's side. So your paternal uncle means your father's brother. Your maternal uncle means your mother's brother. So it comes like you have to have an idea about that also. Similarly, cousins from all sides of the family. So sometimes it might be just your cousin brother. So you'll have to assume if it is your maternal uncle's son or your paternal uncle's son. So you'll have to assume within the question. Then one of the next indirect relationship is between the niece and the nephews, nieces and nephews. So niece means your brother's or sister's daughter. Nephew means your brother's or sister's son. So you'll have to have an idea about nieces and nephews. Finally, about in-laws, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and brother-in-law. So these are, while dealing with our daily life, these are people that we come across most often daily, father, mother, son, daughter, cousins, nieces, nephews. We come across them daily. But while doing a problem, what happens is the question comes in rather a confusing way. So you'll have to, as I said before, you'll have to use the you'll have to have the use of a pen, paper, and then you'll have to do the problem just like doing a mathematical problem. Now, this was the first major guideline, that is to have a knowledge or to have an information about the people within your family. The second major information is to draw vertical or horizontal lines while denoting relationships. So for example, if I am telling that he is my father, so I'll mark here as me, then mark a line upwards, and then mark as father, because he is my father, so I'll mark a line above me. So he is above my generation, he is one generation before me, so I'll mark a line upwards and then mark as a father. Then if someone is saying that, okay fine, he is my son, so I'll mark a line below and mark as son or mark as S, because he is one generation below me. So vertical line means different generations. So that is how you do a problem. So if you're marking grandson, so you'll have to mark one as S, that is son, then another vertical line below, then mark grandson again, because grandson means 2 generations below us. So that is how you mark vertical lines for father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, for son, daughter, then grandson, granddaughter. So that is how you draw vertical lines for different generations of people. Then comes horizontal lines. Horizontal lines means same generation. So brother, sister, husband, wife. So these are the people who have direct relationship between us, direct relationship with us within the same generation. So we draw horizontal lines to mark people who are in the same generation as us. Then we have some diagonal relationships, or diagonal diagonal lines. We use diagonal lines to draw indirect relationships. For example, me, my father, my father's brother. So it comes as a diagram like this. So we draw a diagonal line to denote that this person is my uncle. So that is an indirect relationship. For example, we have me, my wife, and wife's mother. So that is a mother-in-law. So we draw a diagonal line to indicate indirect relationship, that is she is my mother-in-law. So we have to draw lines so that it becomes very easy for you, very clear for you. I'll repeat it again. Vertical line means different generations, father, son, grandson, so different generations. Horizontal line means same generation, husband, wife, brother, sister, etc. And then in diagonal line means that it is indirect relationship, that is we do not have a direct relationship, there is someone between that. So if it is uncle, it means that it is my father's brother or my mother's brother. So we draw a diagonal line to denote indirect relationships. Then another one is to mark genders. So while drawing these diagrams, while drawing these pictures, what happens is we need to know the genders of people. So while marking as me, then my father, so father is a male. What I used to do is I used to denote plus for males and minus for females. If you feel so, you can reverse it. You can use minus for males and plus for females. You can use any other symbols that you like, but make sure that you mark the gender. For example, me. So if in the question it is said that a lady said, so it means that a lady is a female, so we mark minus or we mark plus as per your convenience. And then my father, so we'll mark father here or F there, and then we'll put a plus sign for male. You can use any other symbols, but keep in mind that do not use letters. Do not use M for male and F for female, because it might confuse you with the M of mother and F of father. So if we use F to denote father, a short form of father, we use M to denote as a short form for mother. So instead, in between that, if you go and mark M for female and F for M for male and F for female, what happens is it creates confusion. So instead of the plus and minus that I'm using here, you can use any other symbols as per your convenience, but try not to use letters M and F for male and female. Try to use any other symbols. If you want, you can use plus and minus for male and female, minus for male and plus for female, or any other symbols like that, but try to use symbols itself instead of letters or numbers. Then One of the most important thing while dealing with a question of blood relation is that you'll always have to start from the back side of the question. So if a question is that he is the father of the mother of my husband, so you'll have to start with the husband first. You'll have to start from the right side and then come to the first part of the question. That is how you do a blood relation question. You'll understand more while we're doing the sample questions. Now there are two magic words in the case of blood relation. One of them is of, OF, and the other one is SIS. So if of comes, if the word of comes, you can just start the question from the back side, as I said, and then you can do the questions directly as we'll be doing in the sample questions. But if the letter is comes, if the word is comes, what happens is you might have to draw two diagrams. One diagram before the is part and one diagram after the is part. And one more thing you'll have to keep in mind, might get confusing for you, but while doing the questions it might get simpler as we do the sample questions. One diagram, as I said, one diagram denoting before the is part and one diagram after the is part, and then we'll have to compare, or we'll have to combine these two diagrams, and then we'll get the answer. For example, my father's brother is her husband. So my father's brother, so we'll draw a diagram as me, my father, my father's brother. So we'll have one diagram here, my father's brother. Then we have an is there. Then we'll draw another diagram, her husband. So there is a lady, we'll mark here, then her husband. So we have another diagram here. So one more thing we have to understand here is the person just before the word is and the person just after the word is the same person. So here before the is there is a person called brother, and after the is there is a person called her husband. So the husband and the brother is the same person. So what we do is we draw two diagrams, then we combine these two together to form a single diagram. So here we can understand that this person is her this person is the uncle of that person or the aunt of that person. As per the gender, if it is a male, we can call him as an uncle. If it's a female, we can call her as an aunt. The last thing to understand is the point of view. So whose point of view are we actually solving this problem? That is an important thing. So if there is a question, who is x of y and who is y of x, those two questions might seem similar, but they are actually not, because if x is a boy and y is a girl, and if x and y are brother and sister, so who is of x of y, the answer is brother, and who is y of x, the answer is sister. So we have to understand, we have to read the question carefully and understand at whose point of view we are actually solving the problem, and then it might get easier, then it will get easier. So these are the guidelines that you have to follow while doing a blood relation question. I'll just repeat it once again. First, to have a knowledge about the basic relationships within your family. As I said, father, mother, brother, husband, wife, grandmother, granddaughter, nieces, nephews, cousins, then father-in-law, mother-in-law. So the basic relationships within your family. The second main thing is to draw vertical, horizontal and diagonal lines whenever needed. The third thing is to mark genders, maybe plus or minus, maybe any other symbols, but preferably not numbers or preferably not letters. Then to start the question from the back side and then go to the front side of the question. As I said, when we do the sample question, you'll get a much clearer idea. Then to have an idea about the words of and is within the question, that also while doing the sample question we'll have a much clearer idea. And then to look at the POV, the point of view of each person. So whose point of view are we solving the problem, that we have to keep in mind. Is it the point of view of a person called X, or is it the point of view of a person called Y? We have to read the question carefully and then answer the questions. So now we'll be starting with some sample questions of blood relation. So we've already discussed the guidelines. So based on those guidelines, we'll be starting with some sample questions. The first sample question, X introduces Y saying that he is the husband of the only granddaughter of the father of my father. how is y related to x? So this is how you get questions. Okay, you'll get many offs. Here you can see many words called off. So x introduces y saying he is the husband of the only granddaughter of the father of my father. How is y related to x? So that is how we get questions in the net examination. So here we have to understand that there are two persons here, so x and y. So we have x here and we have y. So as per the guidelines, we will be starting, as we said before in the guidelines, what happens is we will start from the back end of the question and then we will go forward. So the last relationship we will take as the first, our first element, and then we will go to the first part of the question. So we will start. The first relationship is x or my father. So here x is the first person, x is the one who is speaking. So any words like my, mine, or me, it all relates to the person called x. So the last relationship here is my father. So that means it is x's father. You can see that it is x's father. Now we know the gender of father because he is a male. So we put a plus sign. You can use any symbol that you want. But the problem here is we don't know the gender of x here. Okay, so right now, for now, you can leave it as it is. Now, the first relation is over, that is my father, which is x's father. Now, the second relationship is again father. So from here, we draw another vertical line upwards and then mark again father. So now two relations are over, my father and again a father. Okay, now the third relation is granddaughter. So right now we are here. From there we know how this goes. We actually draw two vertical line downwards. So from here granddaughter means two generations downwards. Now here arises the problem. We actually don't know the gender of x. So if, for example, x is a male, what happens is granddaughter means someone else. That means x's sister. If we assume that x is a female, what happens is the only granddaughter means it is x itself. So right now we don't know what x is. We don't know if x is a male. We don't know if x is a female. So what happens is right now we have to assume that x is either of the genders. You can assume any of the genders, and if the answer goes wrong, we'll have to do the problem again. Okay, so right now for the time being we'll assume that x is a male. I'll assume that x is a male, you can assume that x is a female, and then we can try to do the problem. Okay, so from here we have the next relation is the granddaughter of the father. Okay, so granddaughter means another person. That means it will be x's sister. Okay, so granddaughter is a female. Now the last relationship is husband. So here we have husband. These two people are married. So granddaughter's husband. So this is the last person. So this person is y. Okay, here we have x. Now the question is, how is y related to x? They are asking about this relation. So here we know that here we have x. We have x's sister, because it is written as granddaughter, so it is a female. So here we have x's sister, x's sister's husband. X's sister's husband means my sister's husband would be my brother-in-law. Here we have the option C as brother-in-law. So this is how you find out the answer. But suppose, imagine that you have taken the other assumption. We'll do this problem in that way also. So we have x's father, and again x's again a father. Okay, so this is the diagram that we got from here also. So now we are actually redoing this with another assumption, and then from here the question says that granddaughter or only granddaughter. So here we come two steps downwards and we assume that x is a female. This is just an assumption, that's why I have put in a circle. Here also we have assumed, that's why I put in a circle. Okay, so now it is just an assumption that x is a female, and then the last relation is husband. They are married to each other. So this is x, this is y. So they are asking is, how is y related to x? So we can do it both ways. Both are actually correct. But here what happens is, what is the relation between x and y? Y is the husband of x. So the answer should be husband. But the problem here is, if you check the options, we have an option called brother, we have an option called son, we have an option called brother-in-law, and we have an option called sister-in-law. We don't have an option called husband. So when we do this and we find out that there is no option called husband, just we can understand that our assumption was wrong. Your method was not wrong, but just this assumption was wrong. So if you find yourself in this place, the only thing you have to do is do the problem again with the other assumption that X is a male. So you'll get the answer, as brother-in-law, and then you have the option brother-in-law in the answer options. Suppose you have husband as well as brother-in-law in the options, don't worry, you can take either of them, you'll be definitely getting the marks once the question goes for review or revision. But right now what happens is, actually they'll only give one option, either brother-in-law or husband. They'll, most probably they'll give only one option. So here what happens is, similarly they have given only one option, which is brother-in-law. So it means that this assumption was wrong. I'm telling you again, the method was not wrong, but just this assumption was wrong. So you have to do the problem in this way. So that is how you do the problem in this question. The answer is C, brother-in-law. So now for the second question. While walking with his friend, Mahesh meets another man whose mother is the wife of Mahesh's father's only son. How is the man related to Mahesh? So read the question once again. We'll read the question very carefully, very slowly. While walking with his friend, so there are two people, Mahesh and his friend, and Mahesh is just talking with his friend, not about him. So just with his friend. So this friend is irrelevant here. Mahesh meets another man. So the relationship is between Mahesh and this another man, whose mother is the wife of Mahesh's father's only son. So how is the man related to Mahesh? So as I said, here the relationship is not between Mahesh and the other speaker. The other speaker is just his friend. Here the relationship is between Mahesh and a man. So Mahesh meets another man whose mother is the wife of Mahesh's father's only son. So here there is actually a word called is. So as we said before, when the word is comes, we have to draw two diagrams. Okay, one diagram for the relations after is and another diagram for the relations before is. Okay, and then we have to join both. So if you are confused about it while doing this problem, we will be explaining in detail. So you'll be more clear about it. So we'll start, as we said, we'll start from the back. The first relation is only son. Whose only son? Mahesh's father's only son. So if apostrophe s comes, as we said here, Mahesh's father's only son. So there are two apostrophes. So while apostrophe comes, what you can do is you can take it as a single relationship. Okay. So the first relationship is Mahesh's father's only son. So we have a person called Mahesh. Mahesh's father's. So father is a plus, is a male. So Mahesh's father's only son. So here there is nothing about the gender of Mahesh, but we can assume that Mahesh is a male based on his name. So we can actually give importance to name here. Suppose the name is something like Ria. So we can assume that she is a female. So that is just a common assumption. Don't think too much about it, just a common assumption. So Mahesh is a male, Mahesh's father's only son. So Mahesh's father's only son becomes Mahesh himself. So we went upwards, then we came downwards again, because Mahesh's father's only son. Now the next relationship is wife. So we went upwards, we came downwards, now we are here, then Mahesh's wife, because these two are married. So Mahesh's wife. We put a negative sign or a minus sign to denote female. Now comes the term is. So as we said, so now we drew Mahesh, Mahesh's father, Mahesh's father's only son, then wife of this son. So we are here right now. Now there comes a term called is. Now we'll draw another diagram for the relationships before the word called is. So before the word called is, we have Mahesh meets another man whose mother. So there is a man and there is a mother. So it's a simple diagram. We have a man, we have a mother. So this is actually diagram number 1. Simple diagram. I'll just follow the guidelines. You will get this, an even more simpler diagram, because there is a man and a mother. So this is diagram number 2. So now we have to join both. So how do we join both? So the thing we have to understand is the person that comes just after is and the person that comes just before is both of them are the same person. So if you look at the question, we have Mahesh meets another man whose mother is the wife of Mahesh's father's only son. So what is the relationship just before is? It is mother. So this mother. What is the relation that says after is the wife. So this wife. So it means that this mother and this wife, both of them are the same person. So when we redraw this diagram, okay, you can do as a rough problem because your answers will be on the computer screen, but right now I'm just redrawing the diagram so that you can understand it better. So we actually drew Mahesh here, okay, we drew Mahesh's father, we drew Mahesh's father's only son, we came back to Mahesh, then Mahesh's wife. So we were here right now. Now this wife is same as this mother. So what happens is we take this diagram and we actually paste it here. So this person becomes wife as well as someone else's mother, and we have one other relation which is the man. Now the question is, how is this man related to Mahesh? We can see that this man is Mahesh's wife's son, okay, or we can see that this man, his mother and mother's husband is Mahesh. So Mahesh's wife's son means Mahesh's son itself. So the options we have here is son, nephew, cousin and uncle. So the option would be option A, which is son. So try to understand this. If you get a question where in between the question or in the middle of the question we have a term called is, understand that they actually will start telling about the relationships, and in the middle if they give the word called is, just understand that it is easier. You might have other methods with you, but I feel it is easier that you can draw two simple diagrams. Okay, when you follow the guidelines, you can draw two simple diagrams, and the way to join them is that the person just after is and the person just before is. Know your grammar well also, sometimes they might be changed, but in most of the questions when you follow basic simple grammar, we can understand that the person just after is and the person just before the word is would be the same person, more or less. Most probably in most of the cases would be the same person. So here in this case, the person after is this wife, the person before is this mother. So we have to join both. So within this diagram what we do is we bring this part to here. So this wife and mother becomes the same person, and we have just one relationship after that, which is man or this wife's son. We actually have to draw a downward arrow mark to show the next generation. So this person is this man's mother. So it becomes this person's son. So Mahesh's wife's son, that's what they have asked to find out, and the answer would be son. The next sample question, pointing to a man, Rita said, "He is the brother of the daughter of the wife of my husband. How is the man related to Rita?" So this is comparatively an easy question because the word is comes in the very beginning. So we don't have to draw two diagrams because just before is there is only one person. So that person is the last person. So it's fine. So we don't have to draw two diagrams, just one diagram, and every relation is followed by the word of. So we'll just have to start from the back and go to the front and we'll get the answer. So we'll start with Rita. Okay, Rita is a person who is speaking. Okay, so Rita, since the name is Rita, we can assume that she is a female. Now the last relation will come from the last relation. The first this is my husband, so Rita's husband. So these two are married. This is Rita, this is husband. So this M stands for just married. You can write whatever you want. You can write wife, you can write husband, anything, just to understand. So this is Rita, this is Rita's husband. Now the next relationship is wife. So we are here right now. Now this husband's wife, that is Rita herself. So they are trying to confuse us. My husband's wife means that person itself. My wife's husband means this person itself. So they are trying to confuse us. Now Rita, husband, wife of this husband becomes Rita herself. Now the next relationship is daughter. So we'll draw a vertical line downwards because daughter is in the next generation, and we'll just write D. You can write daughter, or you can write girl, boy, anything. Just whatever symbols you give, whatever abbreviations you give, you yourself have to understand it. So daughter we'll mark with a minus sign. The next relationship or the last relationship is brother. So this daughter's brother. So since both of them, brother and sister, are in the same generation, we can draw a horizontal line. So this brother is a male. So this is our diagram. We have Rita, Rita's husband, Rita's husband's wife, then the relationship was a daughter, then this daughter's brother. So this is the overall simple diagram that we can use for this this problem. Now the question is, how is the man related to Rita? So the last person was this. Okay, this person is called the man. Now here is Rita. So what is this relationship? That is what they are asking. So this person is Rita's daughter's brother. So daughter's brother means son. So son himself. So this person is Rita's son. Our options are 3: son, B husband, A son, B husband, C nephew, and D cousin. So the answer would be A son. This is more or less a very simple question. Now the next question, next sample question, the fourth question. A and B are brothers, C and D are sisters, A's son is D's brother. How is B related to C? So this is kind of a confusing question, but if you read the question once or twice, you will find that this is actually very easy if you draw the diagram, because here each sentence is related to different people. In the first sentence they are saying that A and B are brothers, so they are talking about A and B, two people. In the second sentence they are talking about C and D. C and D are sisters. So there is nothing connecting these four people. Okay. Now in the third sentence they are saying that A's son is D's brother, and in the last line they are asking about how is B related to C. So we'll start, just take it sentence by sentence, break it down so that you'll find it very easy to do. Now the first thing is A and B are brothers. So we have A here, we have B here. So brothers. So both of them are male. Okay. Now for the next sentence they are saying that C and D are sisters. So both of them are sisters, so both of them are female. So both of these diagrams are different. Don't actually connect between these two right now. Right now they are just saying that A and B are brothers, C and D are sisters. Okay. Now the next thing they are saying is A's son is D's brother. Okay. So A's son, there is a son for A. Right now they have not given any name, so you can maybe write man, you can write X, anything. Right now for the sake I am writing X. So it is said that A's son, so this person is a male. Now A's son is D's brother, so this person is D's brother. So we can bring this diagram here. Okay, so we have D here. So this person is the brother of D. We already know that C is the sister of D, so we can write that C also. So with this diagram we can see that A has 3 children, one of whom is X, one of whom is D, and we know that D and C are sisters, so the third child is C. So A has 3 children, D and C are female, that means D and C are A's daughters, X is A's son. Now the question is, how is B related to C? So they are asking us to find about this relationship B and C. So what do we have here? C, C's father, C's father's brother. So father's brother will amount to uncle. So here in this in the option we have A father, B brother, C uncle, and D grandfather. So there is nothing about grandfather here. Okay. About father, father is actually A. When relating to C, father is A. They are not asking about A, they are asking about B. So father is not the answer. Brother, brother is actually X, not B. They are asking about B, but actually brother is X. So brother is not the answer. What about uncle? It is C's father's brother. So actually the answer is uncle. So B is C's uncle. So here also we drew 2 diagrams and brought this diagram here so that you can do the problems more easily. For the 5th question, introducing a lady, a man said, her mother is the only daughter of my mother-in-law. what is the man to the lady? So a man is introducing a lady, so we have to find the relationship between those both, a man and a lady. And the man says that her mother is the only daughter of my mother-in-law. So here there is a word called is, and before is there are two relationships, her, mother, so two, and after is there is a load of relationships. So we have to use this thing. If you can do it without this, this before and after is, that technique, you can do it in your own way, it's fine. This is just a technique to understand how to join two diagrams if you can't do it that way. But if you can do it in any other technique, if you want, you can just follow that method. Just make sure that the answer is correct and make sure that you do the problems very fast. Okay, now we'll start from the back. As I said before, the first relationship is my mother-in-law. So there is a man speaking, okay, man is a male, and the man's mother-in-law. So mother-in-law means wife's mother. I hope you know the relationships. So man's wife, these two people are married, wife is a female, and man's mother-in-law, so this person's mother. So we have man here, we have wife, man's wife's mother actually becomes man's mother-in-law. Now, and the next relationship is only daughter. So we are here right now, we are with the mother-in-law right now. Mother-in-law's only daughter becomes this person itself. So we actually started from wife's mother, and now this mother's only daughter comes back to wife itself. Okay, now the word called is comes. So before is, what are the relationships there before is? Her mother. So we are talking about a lady here, right? We're talking in the question itself, it says that introducing a lady. So this lady, and the relationship is her mother. So this lady's mother. So this is also female, this is also female. Now we have two diagrams here. Okay, we have here we have a larger diagram number 1 and a diagram number 2. Now we have to join this. So how do we join it? We said that after is, before is, these both are the same person. So after is, we have a person called the daughter. So man's wife's mother, that is man's mother-in-law's only daughter. So this person and her mother, this person, these both are the same persons. So what we do is we bring this diagram here. Okay, so if we redraw, you need not redraw it. If you're doing a rough work, you can just overlap this diagram. I'm actually redrawing it for a little bit more clarity when you're seeing on your screen. So we have man here, wife here, wife's mother here, okay, and this diagram we bring here. So this mother and this wife, both of them are the same person, okay, and we have a person called lady. So this person is the lady's mother, this person is this man's wife, this person is this mother's daughter. So this person is actually the center point here. Now the question is, what is the man to the lady? We have man here, we have lady here. What is this relationship? So what is the man to the lady? That question is very important. What is the man to the lady will have an answer. What is this lady to the man will have another answer. Even though we are talking about both of them as the same persons, but both of the questions will be, both of the answers will be different. We actually discussed this in the guidelines. Whose point of view? So here they are asking from the point of view of the man. So what is the man to the lady? What is the man to the lady? The man is lady's mother's husband. Mother's husband means father. So the answer would be father. Suppose in the options they'll give an option called daughter also. So this lady is actually this man's wife's daughter. Wife's daughter means the man's daughter itself. But the question is, what is the man related to, or how is the man related to the lady? What is the man to the lady? So they are asking about this man. So who is this man? This lady's father. If they were asking about this lady, they are asking that who is the lady to the man, or what is the relationship of the lady to the man? You have to answer in the point of view of the lady. So the answer would be daughter. So you might get father as well as daughter in your options. So if the question is about this lady, you can say that this daughter is the correct answer. But here the question is about man. So this man is actually the father, not the daughter. So the answer would be father. Now we'll do one more sample question. Okay. The question is, pointing to a gentleman, Deepak said, his only brother is the father of my daughter's father. How is the gentleman related to Deepak? So here, as we said before, in this method what we do is we take the word called is, because before is there are some relationships, not just one. If we say that he is the, then there is just one he before the is, so we don't have to consider the is. But here in the question it is his only brother, so there are some relationships before is, so there are some before is, there are some after is. So we'll draw two diagrams just for an understanding. I'm repeating myself. If you have a better technique, use that. Okay, this is for understanding, for just for beginners, so that they can know how this relationship comes, how this is derived. So this is just for the beginners. So we'll go straight to the problem. Pointing to a gentleman, Deepak said. So there is a gentleman and there is a Deepak. Okay, his only brother is the father of my daughter's father. So we'll start from the back. My daughter's father. So Deepak is the person who is speaking. So when they say that my daughter's father, it relates to Deepak. So Deepak is saying that my daughter's father. So Deepak is a male. Deepak's daughter, we can say that this is Deepak's daughter, who is a female. My daughter's father. So it comes to Deepak himself. Now the next relationship is father. So right now we are here. So we'll go one generation upwards. We'll draw father here. So right now we are here. Now comes the word called is. So this is our first diagram. Now comes the word called is, and before is there is only one thing that they're saying, his only brother. So he's speaking about a gentleman. So we have a gentleman here. Just write gentleman, or you can write X or anything, and his only brother, this gentleman's only brother. So this is a male, this is also a male. So now we have the second diagram also. Now who is the person after is, who is the person before is? So before is we have a person called father, this person. So Deepak's daughter's father, then again father of Deepak's only daughter, father of Deepak's only daughter. So we have here father of my daughter's father. So Deepak's daughter's father, again father. So this is a person after is. Then his only brother, so this gentleman's brother, this is the person before is. So we know that after is and before is, those two persons are the same people. So these two persons are the same people. So what we do is we take this diagram and we take it here. We take this diagram to here. So when we redraw, I'm repeating myself, you don't have to redraw, you just have to do a rough work. But since for your understanding, I'll be redrawing it here. We had Deepak here, we had Deepak's daughter here, we had father of Deepak's daughter here, then again a father relationship we had here. Okay, now this diagram we are taking it here. So this person and this person, both of them are same. So we have here a person called brother, whose brother we actually drew here, gentleman, gentleman's brother. So these both are the same person, so I don't have to put another plus there because both of them are the same person. Now this is the complete diagram that we have here. We actually draw two diagrams, one after is, one before is, and we took this and we took it here. So this father and this brother becomes the same person here. So we have a complete diagram. Now the question is, how is the gentleman related to Deepak? Who is this gentleman for Deepak? It's Deepak's father's brother. Father's brother means uncle. So this question is also based on a point of view. If the question is about who is Deepak, we have to say that it is gentleman's brother's son. So it might be nephew. But here the question is, how is the gentleman related to Deepak? So the question is about gentleman. Who is this gentleman? Who the gentleman related to Deepak means Deepak's father's brother, which comes to uncle. So that is the answer here, uncle.